In the bustling town of Umuahia, Reverend Father Chukudi was loved by all. Market women called him Popankem, children ran to hug him, and elders bowed with respect whenever he passed. His deep voice carried power during Mass, and his prayers gave people hope in times of hardship. To the community, he was untouchable, a true man of God. But behind the cassock, Father Chukudi was a man like every other. His weaknesses were buried under sermons and hymns. At night, he battled with thoughts he dared not confess. He looked holy on the altar, but in his heart, temptation was knocking louder and louder. Among the church choir was a young woman named Neka, just 23. Her voice was like honey. Whenever she sang, the entire church would fall silent. People said her songs carried anointing, but Father Chukudi felt something more whenever she opened her mouth to sing. His eyes lingered too long, and his prayers after choir practice grew shorter. Neka, innocent and devoted, saw him only as her spiritual father. She trusted his words, sought his advice, and believed he carried the answers to her struggles. But little did she know, her closeness to the Reverend was slowly drawing her into a dangerous path. One evening, after choir practice, Father Chukudi called Neka aside. His tone was soft, almost fatherly, as he told her she had a special gift. "My daughter, your voice is not ordinary," he said, smiling warmly. "I want to guide you personally, so your gift will not be wasted." Neka's heart swelled with gratitude. She felt chosen. He invited her to his office for private prayers and mentorship. Neka, excited and honored, agreed without hesitation. She never suspected that this single decision would change her life forever, leading to secrets, shame, and a scandal that would shake the entire town. Neka arrived at Father Chukudi's office the following evening. The room was lit by a single candle, and the smell of incense filled the air. He welcomed her warmly, offered her a seat, and opened the Bible. They prayed together, and she felt blessed that the man of God cared so much about her future. But as the prayer ended, Father Chukudi's hand lingered on hers longer than necessary. Neka thought little of it, brushing it off as a fatherly touch. Yet, inside him, a line had already been crossed. Temptation had moved one step closer. After that meeting, Neka began to have troubling dreams. She would see Father Chukudi standing by her bed, whispering words she couldn't understand. At first, she dismissed them as ordinary nightmares, but they kept repeating night after night. Unbeknownst to her, the Reverend had begun using subtle manipulations, mixing scripture with personal words, to tie her closer to him. He told her the dreams were a sign and that God was drawing her nearer to him for a divine purpose. By the third week, people in the town began to notice how close Neka and Father Chukudi had become. Whenever she walked into the parish house, the catechist would raise his brows. Market women whispered when they saw her walking near the church late in the evening. But Neka ignored the gossip. She believed she was being prepared for something greater. Father Chukudi fueled that belief by assuring her that jealousy made people speak nonsense. "Don't listen to them, my daughter. Focus on your calling," he said. One rainy evening, Father Chukudi asked Neka to stay after choir practice. The storm outside was heavy, and she could not go home. He insisted she remain in the parish house for safety. They prayed, they talked, and slowly, the atmosphere grew tense. That night, a holy man fell. Father Chukudi crossed the line completely, convincing Neka that it was God's mysterious will. Tears filled her eyes, but his words wrapped around her like chains. From that night onward, her innocence was gone. Neka tried to forget what happened, but every time she stood to sing, she felt shame choking her throat. She avoided eye contact with the other choir members, fearing they could see her secret in her eyes. Meanwhile, Father Chukudi continued his duties as though nothing had happened. He smiled, preached, and blessed the people. To the town, he remained holy. But inside, Necker's world was breaking apart. Weeks passed, and the secret between them grew heavier. Father Chukudi became more protective of Necker, giving her special attention. Some saw it as spiritual guidance, but others raised eyebrows. Necker, however, was trapped. She loved and feared him at the same time. A strange bond formed between them, a mixture of guilt, loyalty, and silent desire that neither could explain. One morning, Necker woke up feeling weak. Her stomach churned, and she couldn't keep food down. When she checked her calendar, fear gripped her. Her monthly period had not come. She tried to deny it, telling herself it was stress. But as weeks passed, her body confirmed what her mind refused to accept. She was pregnant, and the father was the Reverend everyone worshipped. Terrified, Necker went to the parish house one evening and broke the news to Father Chukudi. His face turned pale, and for the first time, the calm man of God lost his composure. He paced the room, sweating. "This cannot happen," he muttered. "If the town finds out, everything will be destroyed." Necker wept, begging him for guidance. But deep down, she knew there was no prayer that could erase what had already happened. Father Chukudi told Necker they must keep the matter hidden. He promised to take care of her and swore no one would ever know. He insisted she continue singing in the choir as if nothing was wrong. Necker reluctantly agreed. But in her heart, fear grew. How long could they hide a pregnancy? Sooner or later, the truth would show. As the months went by, Necker's body began to change. She wore larger clothes to hide her belly, but some choir members noticed her growing roundness. "Sister Necker, you're glowing these days," one teased, but she forced a laugh. The whispers in the town grew louder. Some said she had found a secret lover. Others suspected she was hiding something. Necker prayed daily, but guilt weighed on her more than ever. Mr. Okoro, the parish catechist, was an observant man. He had been watching Necker closely, and one day, he confronted Father Chukudi privately. "Father, something is not right with that girl. She looks different," he said carefully. Father Chukudi forced a smile and dismissed it. "She is fine. She is just under stress," he replied. But in his heart, he knew the catechist was too sharp to be deceived for long. One Sunday during Mass, Necker almost fainted while singing. The entire congregation rushed to her aid, and Father Chukudi hurried down from the altar to hold her. The sight shocked many. Why was the Reverend so quick and personal with her? Although they managed to cover it up, the incident left tongues wagging across Umuahia. People began connecting dots, and the whispers turned into quiet suspicion. Necker's mother, Mama Ifioma, began to notice her daughter's condition. At first, she thought Necker was sick. But after watching her closely, she suspected the truth. One evening, she asked directly, "Necker, are you carrying a child?" Necker burst into tears but said nothing. Her silence was the loudest answer. Mama Ifioma held her and wept, not knowing how to face the shame if the community discovered the truth. Father Chukudi suggested they spread a lie that Necker had a secret fiancé from another town who would soon come to marry her. He promised to arrange everything so people would believe. Though doubtful, Necker's mother reluctantly agreed. They told neighbors that her fiancé was working abroad and had already paid part of her bride price. Some believed, but others didn't. Suspicion still lingered. Just when they thought things were settling, Michael, a childhood friend of Necker, returned from Lagos. He had always admired her, and when he saw her again, his feelings rekindled. But he was shocked by her sudden engagement. Michael asked questions, and the more he dug, the more inconsistencies he found. He vowed to uncover the truth, not knowing the scandal he was about to expose. One afternoon, Michael found a letter Nneka had mistakenly dropped at the church compound. It was written in Father Chukwudi's handwriting, promising to protect her and the baby. Michael's heart stopped. The holy man everyone respected was the true father. He realized the entire town was living a lie. Michael confronted Nneka privately. At first, she denied, but tears betrayed her. She begged him not to tell anyone. "You don't understand, Michael. If people know, my life is over." Michael, however, was torn between protecting her and exposing the Reverend. The weight of the secret was too heavy for him to carry alone. When Father Chukwudi heard Michael had returned, he became restless. He knew Michael was clever and could not be deceived easily. He warned Nneka to keep quiet, but his own sermons began to lose fire. For the first time, he looked weak on the altar. The guilt and fear were beginning to eat him alive. Nneka's pregnancy could no longer be hidden. Her belly was showing, and villagers began to ask hard questions. "Where is this mysterious fiancé of yours?" one neighbor asked sarcastically. The more they questioned, the more her family avoided people. The lie was collapsing, and Father Chukwudi knew the truth was about to burst open. It started as a whisper in the market: "The Reverend Father is the one responsible for Nneka's condition." By evening, the rumor spread like wildfire across Umuahia. Some refused to believe it, others swore it was true. The once respected priest now stood at the center of scandal. The church that once adored him began to divide. The Catholic bishop was informed and came down to Umuahia in anger. He summoned Father Chukwudi, demanding answers. "Is this true?" he thundered. Father Chukwudi fell to his knees, trembling. He denied at first, but the evidence was too clear. The bishop's face turned pale with shame. The news shook the town like an earthquake. Women wailed, elders shook their heads, and children whispered in confusion. The holy man they trusted had betrayed them all. Some wanted him banished, others demanded he be stripped of his cassock immediately. The once beloved priest had become a symbol of disgrace. Nneka cried day and night. She blamed herself for trusting too much, yet she also felt betrayed. The same man who preached about holiness had dragged her into shame. Her family avoided the market, too ashamed to show their faces. She wished she could undo everything, but it was too late. Michael, though angry, stood by Nneka. He encouraged her not to give up. "A child is never a curse," he told her. "This baby is innocent." His kindness gave her a little strength, but the road ahead was still uncertain. The whole community now watched her every move. Father Chukwudi was suspended from the church. The bishop ordered him to step down and live under strict supervision. His name, once praised, was now spat upon in anger. He sat alone in the parish house, his robes folded away. The man who was once the pride of Umuahia was now its greatest disgrace. Months later, Nneka gave birth to a baby boy. The town gathered, not to celebrate, but to see what would happen. Some mocked, some pitied, but a few silently admired her courage. Michael remained by her side, proving his loyalty. Slowly, Nneka began to rebuild her life, one step at a time. Just when the town thought the scandal was over, something unexpected came to light. While clearing Father Chukwudi's old office, the catechist discovered a hidden diary under his desk. The diary contained shocking details, names of other young women, private notes of his secret meetings, and confessions he never spoke aloud. The truth was far worse than anyone imagined. Nneka was not the only victim, she was only one among many. The people of Umuahia were shaken to their core, realizing their trusted priest had lived a double life for years. What began as one pregnancy had now uncovered a web of darkness that would haunt the community for generations. Truly, it was the Reverend Father impregnated me. Until something happened. My people, This story teaches us that sometimes the ones we trust the most may carry the darkest secrets. Evil can hide under holy robes, and lies can live behind the loudest prayers. But no matter how long it takes, the truth always finds a way to come out. Remember, be watchful, be wise, and never place blind trust in any human being, because only God cannot fail.